Good day. I am Rev Melissa, Spiritual Director at Rockland Centers for Spiritual Living. Welcome to New Thought Media Network's Black History Moment. Did you know that the Lone Ranger was a Black man? Yes, his name was Bass Reeves. In 1838, nearly a century before the Lone Ranger was introduced to the public, Bass Reeves was born into slavery in the Arkansas household of William S. Reeves, who relocated to Paris, Texas in 1846. It was in Texas during the Civil War that William made Bass accompany his son George to fight the Confederacy. While serving George, Bass escaped to Indian Territory under the cover of night. The Indian Territory, known today as Oklahoma, was a region ruled by 5 Native American tribes who were forced from their homeland due to the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Upon arriving in the Indian Territory, Bass learned the landscape and the customs of the Native American tribes, even learning to speak their languages. After the 13th Amendment was passed in 1865, abolishing slavery, Bass, now a free man, returned to Arkansas, where he married and went on to have 11 children. After a decade of freedom, Bass returned to the Indian Territory when U.S. Marshal James Fagan recruited him. The deputy marshals were tasked with bringing in the countless thieves, murderers, and fugitives who had overrun the expansive 75,000 square mile territory. Upon taking the job, he became the first Black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi. As deputy marshal, Bass is said to have arrested more than 3,000 people and killed 14 outlaws, all without sustaining a single gun wound. Bass found himself in numerous stranger than fiction encounters. Also, many of the fugitives Bass arrested were sent to the Detroit House of Correction, the same city where the Lone Ranger would be introduced to the world on the radio January 30th, 1933. Bass took a creative approach to his investigations, sometimes disguising himself or creating backstories in order to get the jump on his targets. Historian Art Burton said if Reeves was a fictional character, he would be a combination of Sherlock Holmes, Superman, and the Lone Ranger. The legendary lawman was eventually removed from his position in 1907 when Oklahoma gained statehood. As an African American, Bass was unable to continue his position as deputy marshal under the new state laws. He died 3 years later of Bright's disease on January 12, 1910. While the truth about the Lone Ranger may remain a mystery, the story of Bass Reeves remains an inspiration for the real life heroes of this day. There you have your Black History Moment. Here is a prayer for racial healing. Today's treatment to end racism. As so we know and rely on the love God has for us all. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. The highest name for God is love. I put my attention on all that all-embracing love now, and I am lifted in love. With the love of God firmly established in my mind, heart, and actions, I speak this word of power now. God as me is a vortex of love. This love ripples out from me to ignite the experience of love in others now. And that love, no prejudice, hatred, or discrimination can exist. Those things have no eternal foundation and must melt away in the heat of divine love. More and more people are called into the wave of divine love now, creating a tsunami of cooperation and the end of all kinds of oppression. I am grateful, love wins, and so it is. Peace and blessings.